People ignored these photos, but when experts took a closer look, they revealed something shocking. Crazy tools that shouldn't exist, inventions too advanced for their time, and mysterious technologies with no explanation. Stay tuned, as these historical photos might leave you stunned. A strange image began circulating online in the early 2000s, showing an enormous human skeleton unearthed in India. At 18 feet tall, it looked like proof that giants once roamed the earth. People claimed National Geographic had confirmed the discovery, adding to the mystery. But the truth was far less exciting. The image was a digital creation, made for a photo editing contest. There were no reports, no excavation, and no giant skeleton. Even so, the photo still fuels debates today, because when myths meet the internet, they never truly disappear. Ancient tall skeletons. In 2017, while archaeologists were digging in Shandong, China, they found skeletal remains of people far taller than expected, some measuring up to 1.9 meters. These bones, estimated to be around 5,000 years old, were not just tall, but also thick and strong, hinting at a powerful ancient people. Alongside the remains, pottery and jade artifacts were found, suggesting a sophisticated society. Given that modern Chinese populations are generally shorter, this discovery raised big questions. Could there have been an era when giants truly walked the land? Tall skeletons. Archaeologists in Russia's Krasnodar region were digging at a historical site when they found skeletons much larger than usual. The remains, believed to be from the Bronze Age, dated back around 4,000 years. Some of the male skeletons measured about 2 meters in height, which was quite tall for that time period. While this find got people talking about giants, experts suggest these individuals may have simply been taller than the average person back then. Were these just tall ancient humans, or do they hint at something more mysterious? Giant footprint. Have you heard about the footprint of God in South Africa? It's a giant human-like footprint pressed into solid rock, almost 4 feet long. People say it was made by a giant who could have been around 27 feet tall. Sounds unbelievable, right? A hunter found it nearly 100 years ago, and it still puzzles people today. There are no signs of carving, so some believe the rock was soft when the footprint was made, possibly over 3 billion years ago. But scientists say only tiny life forms existed back then. Some think it's proof that giants once walked the earth, while others believe it's just a natural rock shape. Whatever the truth is, this footprint remains a big mystery. Ohio giants. In the late 1800s, people claimed to have found giant skeletons near Serpent Mound in Ohio. Some reports said the bones belonged to people over 7 feet tall. Serpent Mound is a strange and ancient site, built in the shape of a giant snake. When people heard that giants might have been buried nearby, the story spread quickly. Some even linked it to the Nephilim, giants mentioned in old religious stories. But scientists have never found real proof of these giants. Most believe the reports were either mistakes or made up. Still, the mystery remains. Mass shaving machine. A trip to the barber wasn't always a relaxing experience, especially with this machine. An unusual invention hit barbershops in the 19th century, the mass shaving machine. Designed to shave up to a dozen men at once, this contraption aimed to speed up grooming with an assembly line approach. Customers sat in a row while a rotating mechanism moved razors across their faces. It may have been efficient, but trusting a machine with a straight razor wasn't exactly comforting. Unsurprisingly, it didn't last long. Some ideas are better left in the past. Family bicycle. A bicycle that fits the whole family, plus a sewing machine? Now that's a ride you don't see every day. Back in the early 1900s, inventor Charles Steinlauf came up with a bizarre yet brilliant idea. A family bicycle with seats for 4 people, including a special spot for a seamstress to keep working while on the move. 2 riders pedaled, 1 relaxed in the front, and in the middle, a sewing machine was mounted for convenience. 4-person bikes still exist today, but you won't find one with a built-in sewing station. It's safe to say this invention didn't exactly take off, but it sure makes for an interesting piece of history. Amphibious vehicle. A vehicle that drives on land and floats on water? That's not science fiction. It's real. Amphibious vehicles were designed to tackle both terrains effortlessly, whether it was military use in World War II or modern recreational models. These machines proved their worth. Some, like the famous DUKW, helped soldiers land on beaches, while others were built for rescue missions in floods and swamps. Today, amphibious vehicles come in all shapes and sizes, from military-grade transports to futuristic personal watercraft. A ride in one of these is as close as you can get to feeling like a spy in an action movie. Radio baby carriage. This parenting hack was the 1920s version of keeping babies entertained on the go. Back in 1921, a group of students from Union College in New York came up with an unusual idea. Why not attach a radio to a baby carriage? They fitted a wireless receiver and a megaphone under the hood, allowing parents to stroll around while music or news played for their little one. It didn't stop there. That same year, Science and Invention magazine featured another radio-equipped baby carriage, complete with an antenna and loudspeaker. It was an early attempt at making outings more entertaining, proving that even a century ago, people were eager to blend technology with everyday life. Lotion dispenser. Back in 1949, a vending machine in Chicago had a surprising function. It sprayed suntan lotion for just a dime. People could get a 30-second spray to protect their skin. Betty Dutter demonstrated how it worked at an annual vending machine convention. At the time, the idea was unique, but it didn't become popular. Today, however, sunscreen vending machines are common at beaches and pools. This early invention showed that people were already thinking about convenience long before modern technology made it easy. It may not have been a hit back then, but the idea definitely stuck around. 1969 Jetpack test. Flying with a jetpack sounds like a dream, right? Well, in 1969, Robert Corder made that dream real when he tested a jetpack in Fort Myer, Virginia. It looked dramatic, and people were amazed. But there was a big problem. Jetpacks couldn't fly for long. They used up fuel too fast, so they weren't useful for everyday travel. Even today, they're mostly just for fun or special events. Still, the idea of flying like that keeps us hoping for a future where jetpacks are more than just a cool experiment. Robotic hand asking tip. A robot hand asking for tips? Now that's something unbelievable. In 1955, Russell E. Oakes came up with the automatic tip requester, a device designed to encourage but, well, demand tips. It featured a fake hand and a cash box, and if the tip wasn't enough, a no sale sign would pop up, making things awkward real fast. As you can guess, people didn't appreciate being shamed by a machine, and the invention never caught on. Safe to say that some ideas are better left on paper. Revolver camera. Not every camera was made to capture happy moments. This one was built for something much darker. In 1938, New York police tested a strange invention, a Colt .38 revolver with a camera attached. Every time the trigger was pulled, the camera took a picture. It was meant to show exactly what the officer saw when firing the gun. The idea was to use the photos as proof in police shootings, but the design was unusual, and the camera gun never became popular. Maybe it was too impractical, or maybe it was just too unsettling. Either way, only a few were ever made, and today, it remains a rare and eerie piece of history. Massage helmet. Relaxation gadgets have come a long way, but some early designs were truly bizarre. In the 1960s, people didn't need to visit a spa for a head massage. They could just wear a massage helmet. This bulky device used air pressure to give a scalp massage, promising relaxation at home. The idea was simple. Slip on the helmet, turn it on, and let it work its magic. While the design looked unusual, it was an early attempt at automated stress relief. Though the original helmet faded away, modern versions of scalp massagers are still around today, proving that the idea wasn't so strange after all. Stair climbing wheelchair. Navigating stairs has long been a significant challenge for individuals with mobility impairments. In the mid-20th century, inventors developed early prototypes of stair-climbing wheelchairs to address this issue. These devices featured mechanical rotating wheel systems designed to help users ascend and descend stairs safely. While these early models laid the groundwork for future innovations, they were often bulky and complex, limiting their practicality. Modern stair-climbing wheelchairs have since evolved, incorporating advanced technologies to enhance mobility and accessibility for users. Straw hat radio. In 1931, an inventor came up with a unique idea: a radio built inside a straw hat. People could listen to music or news while walking around, with small antennas picking up signals. But the invention didn't catch on. The Great Depression made it too expensive, and the design was too unusual for most people. While it disappeared from history, the straw hat radio was an early step toward wearable technology, an idea that would become much more common in the future. One-wheeled car. A car with one giant wheel? Sounds cool. Until you try to drive it. Back in the 1930s, British engineer Dr. John Archibald Purves designed a strange one-wheeled vehicle inspired by Leonardo da Vinci's sketches. It had a giant outer wheel, and the driver sat inside, controlling it by shifting their weight. The idea was creative, but there was one big problem: it wasn't practical. Steering was tricky, stopping was even harder, and sometimes the inside would spin uncontrollably. Because of these issues, the Dinosphere never became a real form of transportation. Still, it remains one of the most unusual car designs in history, proving that innovation doesn't always mean success. Futuristic lawn mower. Mowing the lawn was never meant to feel like driving a spaceship, but in 1957, someone gave it a try. The power mower of the future was a wild invention demonstrated in Wisconsin. It had a giant plastic dome where the driver sat on a cushioned seat, enjoying air conditioning, a radio phone, and even a drink cooler. It wasn't just for mowing. It could also weed, spray for bugs, and even plow snow. Sounds perfect, right? Well, not really. It was too bulky, too expensive, and never made it to people's yards. It's just another example of how some futuristic ideas stay stuck in the past. Monowheel motorcycle. Inventors have always chased speed and innovation, and in 1931, one man took things to the extreme. Italian inventor M. Goventosa de Udine introduced a motorcycle like no other, a monowheel. Instead of a regular bike frame, the rider sat inside a massive wheel, with the engine positioned right next to them, though controlling it was a nightmare. Steering was tricky, and sudden stops were nearly impossible. While it never replaced traditional motorcycles, it still stands as one of the wildest designs in transportation history. Horse gas mask. During World War II, gas attacks were a real threat, not just for people, but for animals too. In 1940, a group called Our Dumb Friends League, a humane society in London, designed a special gas mask for horses. Horses played an important role in the war, helping with transport and other tasks. To protect them from harmful gas, these masks covered their noses and mouths, just like the ones used by soldiers. It's hard to say how well these masks actually worked, but they show how people tried to protect their animals in difficult times. Man who jumped for science. In the early 1900s, Taylor Franz Reichelt had a bold idea: a parachute suit for pilots. He was convinced it would save lives, and after testing it on dummies, he decided to prove it himself. On a cold day in 1912, Reichelt climbed the Eiffel Tower, wearing his invention. Confident in his design, he jumped, but the suit failed to open. Tragically, he did not survive. His experiment was a disaster, but his daring attempt remains one of the most famous moments in early aviation history. Rocket-powered bicycle. In 1931, a German engineer had a wild idea. Why not strap rockets to a bicycle for extra speed? So he mounted 12 small rockets on the back wheel and prepared for takeoff. But things didn't go as planned. Shortly after this photo was taken, the rockets exploded, sending flames everywhere. The engineer suffered serious burns, but somehow he survived. Turns out, strapping explosives to a bicycle wasn't the best way to go faster. Spaghetti aid. Eating spaghetti can be tricky, but someone came up with a fun idea. A fork that twirls the noodles for you. This gadget was made to wrap spaghetti around the fork in seconds, so you don't have to struggle. At first, it seemed like just a funny invention, but years later, it returned to the market. This time, it was even better with a battery-powered upgrade. Now, the fork spins by itself, making spaghetti easier to eat. It may not be a must-have, but it sure makes dinner a little more fun. Golf robot. In the 1920s, golfers had an unusual coach. Yes, you heard it right. It was a robot. This machine was designed to teach the perfect swing. It guided players by showing the correct motion, helping them improve their technique. Though it wasn't widely used, it was a creative idea for the time. Golfers today rely on modern technology like motion sensors and video analysis to refine their swings. But this early invention proved that people have always looked for new ways to master the sport. Neck brush. Keeping kids clean has never been easy. For this, in 1950, one company thought they had a solution without soap or water. The Los Angeles Brush Corp invented a plastic collar brush that kids could wear around their necks while playing. The idea was it would dry clean dirt away as they moved. 5-year-old Tim Gregory was photographed wearing one, though he didn't look too happy about it. The invention came from a mother's suggestion, hoping to make bath time a little easier. But unsurprisingly, the idea didn't take off. After all, what kid would want to wear a neck scrubber all day? Pluto lamp. In the 1880s, London had something called the Pluto lamp, a streetlight that doubled as a vending machine. These gas-powered lamps weren't just for lighting up the streets. They could dispense hot drinks like tea, coffee, cocoa, and even beef broth for just a half penny. The idea was simple: provide busy city workers and late-night wanderers with a warm drink on the go. But as convenient as they seemed, these vending lampposts didn't last long. Maybe people just preferred getting their drinks from a proper shop. Still, it's fascinating to think that over 100 years ago, someone already had the idea of grab-and-go drinks, just with a lot more gas and metal involved. The Isolator. Staying focused wasn't easy, even in the past, though one inventor took it to an extreme level. In 1925, Hugo Gernsback created the Isolator, a strange helmet designed to block out distractions. It completely covered the head, leaving only a small slit for vision. The thick material made the wearer nearly deaf, and an oxygen tank was attached to keep them alert. It was marketed to students who wanted to concentrate without outside noise. But the design was too strange, and it never caught on. Today, it's remembered as one of the most unusual attempts at improving focus. Heated vest. In 1932, someone thought traffic police needed extra warmth, so they invented an electrically heated vest. The idea was simple: keep officers cozy during cold shifts. But there was a big problem. The vest had to be powered through special street contacts, meaning officers had to stand in one spot to stay warm. Imagine trying to direct traffic while being literally plugged into the road. As you might guess, this wasn't exactly practical, and the idea didn't last. But hey, today's heated jackets run on batteries, so maybe they were onto something, just way ahead of their time. Old telecommunication towers. In the 1880s, telecommunication towers were in their early stages, mainly used for sending telegraph signals. These tall metal structures helped connect cities by carrying wires that transmitted Morse code messages. As technology improved, some towers also supported early telephone lines. Back then, communication was slow compared to today, but these towers were a big step toward modern networks. They laid the foundation for the phone and radio systems that came later. While they looked different from from today's cell towers, but they played an important role in making long-distance communication possible for the first time. Coffee maker. In 1950, a driver proudly showed off his dashboard coffee maker, a gadget designed for fresh coffee on the go. Mounted on the dashboard, it allowed drivers to brew a cup without stopping. While it seemed like a clever idea, it had its problems. Hot coffee and moving cars didn't mix well, making spills and distractions a real concern. The design didn't last long, but it was an early attempt at in-car convenience. We have cup holders and travel mugs, but this invention proves that people have always wanted their coffee, no matter where they are. See-through boat. In 1941, a see-through boat made waves, literally. Made from lucite, this transparent rowboat let people peer straight into the water below. It was a futuristic design, unlike anything seen before. But there was one problem. Lucite was expensive, and these boats never made it to mass production. The dream of gliding over water while watching the depths below faded away. Or did it? Now, clear-bottom kayaks bring the same idea back to life. Maybe the world just wasn't ready for see-through boats back then. Soup cooling spoon. A strange invention appeared in 1948, a soup cooling spoon designed to cool hot soup as you lifted it to your mouth. It had a built-in mechanism that blew air, but using it was more trouble than it was worth. The design was bulky and awkward, making eating harder instead of easier. People quickly realized it wasn't practical. Why bother with a gadget when you could just blow on your soup yourself? Not surprisingly, the invention never caught on. It faded into history as one of those over-engineered ideas that solved a problem no one really had in the first place. Folding bridge. Back in 1926, inventor L. Death designed a clever folding bridge for emergencies. It was lightweight and could be easily transported on a handcart, making it useful for quick crossings in disaster situations. Built for practicality, this bridge unfolded quickly, allowing people to cross rivers or damaged roads. Though details about its exact location in the Netherlands remained unknown, it showed how engineers at the time tackled urgent problems with simple yet effective solutions. While modern technology replaced such designs, this portable bridge was an impressive idea for its time. Fork that spins. French inventor Alan Dam created a unique gadget in 1968, a spinning fork designed to rotate pasta automatically. It aimed to make eating spaghetti easier, but things didn't go as planned. Diners found it awkward and preferred the traditional way of twirling their noodles by hand. While the idea was creative, it never became popular. Still, it was an early attempt at automating a simple dining task. Interestingly, similar battery-powered spaghetti twirlers have appeared in recent years, showing that some inventions never truly disappear. Well, they just come back with upgrades. Phone for vibration. Back in 1929, engineers came up with a special kind of telephone, the laryngophone. Unlike regular phones, it didn't pick up background noise. Instead, it only transmitted vibrations from the vocal cords when pressed against the throat or cheek. This made it incredibly useful in loud environments, especially for military operations, where clear communication was crucial. While it wasn't common for everyday use, the technology influenced later designs in aviation and security fields. Even today, versions of this concept are still used in specialized industries where background noise is a problem. Car turntable. Music lovers didn't have to wait until they got home to enjoy their favorite records back in the 1950s. Some cars were equipped with turntables, letting drivers play vinyl records while on the road. The system worked like a mini jukebox, tucked under the dashboard. However, it wasn't exactly smooth sailing. Bumpy roads often made the record skip, and changing songs while driving was far from safe. Despite its flaws, the idea was a glimpse into the future of in-car entertainment. Eventually, it faded away, making room for more practical options like cassette players and, later, digital music. Whiskey machine. Know about the vending machine that serves whiskey right in the office? This machine existed in 1960. This unusual dispenser offered workers a quick shot of whiskey at the push of a button. Back then, grabbing a drink at work wasn't as shocking as it is today. Some offices even encouraged it, but as workplace culture shifted, machines like this vanished. Now, the idea of a whiskey vending machine in an office sounds more like a strange piece of history than a practical invention. Just think about walking into work and seeing one of these today. Fire engine. A fire engine unlike any other hit the streets of Germany in 1907. This early firefighting vehicle was a mix of old and new. Horse-drawn fire wagons were still common, but this machine ran on an engine, making it an advanced invention at the time. Equipped with hoses, ladders, and a water pump, it helped firefighters respond faster than ever before. While it may look outdated now, in 1907, it was a game changer. Firefighting was evolving, and this machine was proof that technology was starting to replace tradition. Chamber for Churchill. Flying at high altitudes was risky in the 1940s, especially without proper cabin pressurization. But Winston Churchill had a unique solution. In 1940, the Institute of Aviation Medicine built him a personal pressurized pod. This special chamber allowed Churchill to breathe comfortably while flying in unpressurized military planes. It was a strange but effective invention, almost like a personal time capsule in the sky. Who would have thought wartime travel could look this futuristic? No one. Right. Benny Railplane. The Benny Railplane was meant to revolutionize travel. Invented by George Benny, it debuted on July 8, 1930 in Milngavie, near Glasgow. Suspended from an overhead track, it promised high-speed transport above regular rail lines. Despite its sleek design and ambitious vision, it never gained the support it needed. Investors backed out, and the project was left to rust away. Though it failed, the idea of high-speed rail in the air wasn't forgotten. It's fascinating how some inventions vanish, while others inspire the future in unexpected ways. Shaving assistant. A robotic shaving assistant once seemed like a futuristic solution, but reality proved otherwise. Designed to give a perfect shave without human effort, the machine often malfunctioned, leaving users with cuts and irritation. What was meant to be a luxury quickly turned into a risky tool. With its sharp blades and unpredictable movements, trusting this device was a risk, and few were willing to take it, though it never became mainstream and tell us how technology doesn't always get things right. TV goggles. Back in the 1950s, TV goggles promised a way to watch television without a traditional screen. These unusual headsets had tiny built-in displays, letting users enjoy their favorite shows hands-free. But there was a catch. They were bulky, uncomfortable, and often caused eye strain. The design made long viewing sessions difficult, and not many people were willing to trade comfort for convenience. Despite their flaws, they captured the imagination of those eager for futuristic technology. While they never became a household item. Would you like to have one for yourself? Let us know. Fly like a bird. Many dreamed of flying like a bird, but engineer Alan Stewart actually tried to make it happen. In 1963, he built an Ornithopter, a human-powered flying machine that flapped its wings like a bird. It was an ambitious design, with Stewart hoping it could lift off using only human strength. But reality wasn't so kind. The complex mechanics made it difficult to generate enough lift, and the machine struggled to get off the ground. Still, the attempt was remarkable. It showed that human flight ideas weren't just about engines and propellers. Some inventors wanted to take inspiration straight from nature itself. Let us move on to our subscriber pick of the day. This discovery in Australia was unlike anything archaeologists had seen before. In 2014, researchers found a massive 5.3-meter skeleton near Uluru. The remains were found close to what appeared to be an ancient megalithic civilization, a mystery on its own. Experts were confused, and no known human species should have reached such a size. Some suggested extreme gigantism, but there was no solid proof. Professor Hans Zimmer admitted the skeleton raised more questions than answers. If another similar skeleton is found, scientists might finally piece together the truth. Until then, this discovery remains one of Australia's strangest archaeological puzzles.